Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in Committee of the Whole to this appropriation bill. Of course, the appropriation bill is actually authorizing the expenditure of the money. So I do have a few questions that I would like to put on the record. I do note that it's the expenditure is about $750 million, and most of it, of course, is directed towards recovery from the floods, primarily in southern Alberta, but also in Fort McMurray. So the first is the money for First Nations homes to be rebuilt, those that were destroyed in the flooding. And the question I have is, when can we expect a report or an audit that would be available on this and other monies that are expended on specific purposes? In the Department of Agricultural and Rural Development, I do note that there was a 4% interest rebate on any loans up to $1 million for a 2-year period to help eligible businesses and not-for-profits, and I think, oh, there we go, agricultural producers, and those three groups to take out loans to help themselves get back on their feet. And thank you very much to the government for recognizing the role that the not-for-profit sector contributes to our community. We always hear about business. It's a very business-focused government. They want everything done according to business. And yet half our province is private sector or, a public sector or not-for-profits or a charitable foundation or a volunteer focus, as well as, in fact, all of the public service, which is serving hospitals and schools and all the levels of civil service and a number of other functions. So thank you very much for recognizing the NGOs specifically in that area. I know that for me, the second piece of what's happening in ag and rural development was loan guarantees. And I know for a number of years that the loan guarantees were used frequently by the government, but then they sort of came out of fashion, and as far as I know, in the sectors I worked in anyway, all of the loan guarantees were called and the money was paid back. So I'm wondering if we're embarking on a new season of loan guarantees. There is additional money under education specific to replacing books and materials, which, thank you very much, that will mean a lot to the schools in that area. I know that most schools struggle to provide enough materials, you know, books, library books, paper, computer nope, not floppies anymore, thumb drives, and other materials like that. So thank you for recognizing that on behalf of the schools. The under Environment and Sustainable Resource Development, there is an amount of money of $2 million that is requested for the 2013 Alberta Flood Recovery to complete additional studies under the Provincial Flood Hazard Identification Program. And I would be very interested in hearing, where are the initial studies? This is saying additional studies. Where are the additional, the original studies for this? Are they public documents? When can they be obtained? Do you have to fill out a form, or who do I ask to see these? Oops, sorry about that. The under Human Services, there is $66 million for flood recovery for emergency financial assistance. Those were the cards, the debit cards that were distributed to people very quickly. And I think many people found that quite helpful. The question after the fact, of course, is how do we audit this? How do we know if the right amount of money was loaded on the cards and got to the right people? Under the infrastructure budget, there is a supplementary amount of capital, $5 million, requested for the planning of a community resource centre in High River. And I'm wondering what additional monies are committed over what period of time for further developments. good to plan, that's great, but they actually need a building to walk into. So what is the timelines around that? And look at that, no questions at all on municipal affairs because... And in transportation, we have $23 million and change for improvements to roads and bridges, water management infrastructure, and water and wastewater infrastructure. I hope at some point we will get access to a detailed report of exactly which bridges and roads and water management infrastructure, in fact, these were used on. But thank you very much for recognizing the importance of water and wastewater infrastructure in Brad Creek.